GERENetwork.com.
This is a GERE Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on GERE Network. Listen in.
Hello. Welcome back. It's BLTD 103. We're live and in living color here on your computers, your cell phones, your cars, tablets, whatever you listen to us on. We're here. I'm Ryan Wolfe. Mr. Perez is on the line. I'm not going to make any fancy introductions because you know what? I kind of forgot how to do all that stuff because it's been so long, but we're back.
Yeah, we are back. But you know what? By episode 103, they should be used to the introductions. They don't need fancy introductions anymore. They know who we are.
Yeah, the only thing we'll tell you, I'm at Wolf BLTD. He's at MRLG Perez, both on the Tweetbots. Check us out. Give us a follow. Today's podcast, I'm going to entitle this one the LifeCast because there's been so much going on. I mean, we're going to talk about sports, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good stuff happening. Baseball's back. Yes. Today is the final day of the Masters, so by the time you listen to this, you'll probably know who won the Masters. I'm going to say Jordan Spieth, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Football, some big football news I want to ask you about, Lewis. So WrestleMania talk as well. So
okay.
there are a few good things we can talk about today. I'm just going off the cuff. I sat down. I called Lewis, kind of breaking the fourth wall here. I sat down, hooked up my system here, made a protein shake because my dumbass went to the gym. Get this, Lewis. I woke up, went to the gym, didn't eat anything before I went to the gym, went shopping after the gym. So I'm coming home and I'm like, hey, I'm feeling kind of spacey, probably should have something. And that's when I was like, oh, I'm going to make a protein shake. We're here now. I'm alive. I'm okay. Everything's good. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. First off, I know, Lewis, you wanted to hear about Vegas. So I'll tell you about Vegas. Vegas was incredible. Now, I wouldn't suggest, have you ever been to Vegas before?
I'm not. I was supposed to go this in 2016, but when I lost my job at Microsoft, it kind of derailed those plans.
Yeah, there was a lot of it's from what I gather and what I saw, there are a lot of like job conventions and like not like find a job convention, but like companies send their people to Vegas because what sounds like a worse idea than sending people to Vegas to have a job convention. But
yeah, right.
we went for 6 days. We got there on a Monday night and came home on a Saturday. We left Vegas on a Saturday night, got home Sunday morning in Buffalo. I would probably suggest if you're going to go, make it like a 3 or 4 day thing because by day 4 we were physically, emotionally, mentally spent. Like, I mean,
right.
It was nice because we had time to hang out and relax and kind of really enjoy our vacation. But the first couple days, we definitely were tourists. You know, I swear, I did not gamble a penny in Vegas, which sounds crazy. But my fiance, I can say that now. My fiance is not a gambler at all. She's not big into that. So every time I was like, hey, you know, I think I want to go down and play some slots or go play some card games I don't usually play or roulette or something like that, you know. And every time I went down there, like we would walk because we walked 40 miles in 4 days. Like we were on something on this trip. Every time I walked down to the floor in any casino, I just completely was turned off. Like, no, thank you, I'm good. I don't want to do this. I know with like we walked into the Mandalay Bay to check it out because we checked out every casino, every hotel. You have to because every casino and every hotel has a different story, different stuff to look at. It's a really neat place. I walked into the Mandalay Bay just to kind of check it out, walk through it, and you've got people just chain smoking cigars, chain smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm cool. I'm okay with not gambling. I just want to walk around, check it out. I want to kind of feel the place out, check it out, enjoy it. But you know, we went to the Grand Canyon. That was amazing. It's actually where I proposed in a parking lot right by.
Yeah, man, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I proposed right by the Grand Canyon National Park sign. I got back into my car because I was trying to think of like I didn't want to do typical. Like, I don't in front of a group of people because I feel like that's kind of manipulative. I just wanted to kind of do it me and her.
Right.
So I had my Mophie, my little battery that was plugged in my phone, which by the way, I didn't like the Mophie very much. I returned it. Wasn't very pleased with it. But anyways, tech talk, and we can talk about that later. So I got in the car, and I was like, we were just about to leave. We'd seen the canyon, made all the phone calls. I got to see Delilah and Jason's reaction when I showed them the Grand Canyon. And Delilah was on, I was on video call with her because I don't have Apple, so it's a video call, it's not FaceTime.
Right.
I'll still call it FaceTime. Who gives a damn? But
right.
Delilah came over to the camera. First off, Eric let out a holy expletive, and I was around a group of like 25 people, and he was on speakerphone. So I was like, hey, thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. But Delilah came over to the phone, and she goes, oh, my God, is that the Grand Canyon? And I said, yeah, isn't it great? And she immediately goes, what are you doing there? Why did you go to the Grand Canyon? And I was like, well, it's vacation, man. That's what you do. You go see things you can never see. And she's like, oh, that's really cool. It's the Grand Canyon. It's really awesome.
Nice.
She's gotten kind of spicy lately as she's gotten a little older. Like,
well, yeah,
kind of
that happens.
Well, my mom told Delilah that we were that we were looking to buy a house. And if you followed me on Facebook, you have no idea that I bought a house. If you follow me on Twitter, you have a pretty good idea I bought a house. So I go to my mom and dad's one day because the kids were there, so I figured I wanted to see them. So I get there, I sit down, I'm hanging out with Dad, chatting back and forth, and then Delilah and Jason show up. And Delilah walks in, she sits down across on like a kitty corner on the couch on the other side of the room, and she looks at me and she goes, when are you going to get a house? You need to get your stuff out of Nana's house so I can come stay the night. And I was like, what? You're a child. Like, calm down.
That's how children are, though, man.
Well, that's how Eric's kids are, because Eric's kids have a lot of personality. Like, if it's like they were born with his charisma. His in-ring charisma, that's what they were born with. And you can there's no doubt about it. Like, they look like my children, but they are Eric's children through and through.
That's
for sure. But back to the story. Getting off on a tangent here. We go check out the Grand Canyon.
Delilah looks a lot like Jessica, though.
She does. As she's gotten older, she does. And then Jason just has a gigantic head like all of the Wolves do. But
yeah, he does look like a bobblehead.
Yeah. He'll grow into it. Maybe not. Probably.
Right.
I still haven't. I'm 25. I still haven't grown into my head. But we checked out the Grand Canyon. And mind you, let me give you a little pro tip here. I mean, I've only gone once, so I'm not a super professional, but I drove around the complex 15 times. If you're going to go early, because there was no parking. There were 7 or 8 different parking lots. All the parking lots were full. We had to drive around for 25 to 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes if I'm being so gracious here, to find a parking spot. And we spent maybe 30, 35 minutes just seeing the Grand Canyon, because again, it's a giant hole in the ground.
Right.
I did text my dad though, because I'm a 5-year-old, and I promised him I would. I sent my dad a photo of the Grand Canyon and said the last time I saw a hole this big, and just left it there. And he thought it was hilarious because my dad is a master of a connoisseur of the dad joke.
Right.
Me and my father have often made jokes about we'll say mean things and then say, "Oh, I had a girlfriend like that once," so that's why I sent him that text message. But yeah, did you
do the glass walkway?
No, I did not. Because that's Grand Canyon West, I believe, on the Indian Reservation, and we thought about going to that because, and again, I'm getting totally off topic here, but we thought about going to that. But it's on an Indian reservation. It's 2 hours. It's a 2 hours less a trip. It was 4 hours each way to the Grand Canyon. On the way home, we got stuck in traffic outside the Hoover Dam because there was a fatal car accident. Understandably so, there was traffic. But we didn't get home that night until about 8:30, 9 o'clock. We left at I think 8 or 9 in the morning that day. So it was nice to get out, travel. I mean, we paid $150, $160 to get a rental car because after they charge you all those, well. Aubrey bought the rental on her license and her debit card. So they're like, well, you have to drive, but you're under 25, so you're gonna get charged $25 more. Then to put him on, it's gonna be $25 more. And she's like, look, I'm gonna come over that counter in a second if you try to charge me any more money.
Yeah, right.
But the Grand Canyon West is 2 hours shorter, but it's $45 a person to get in.
Okay.
Where the Grand Canyon, where we went to the South Rim, it was $25 or $30. I think it was $25 for the car. So it just seemed like a better deal for us. We just wanted to do that. Plus, we wanted to get out and kind of see things. We got to see really just absolutely breathtaking mountain range. I mean, Vegas is surrounded by mountains. It's like a horseshoe of mountains around it. But there were some gorgeous mountain ranges in Arizona. It's weird to think that I drove to Arizona. Like I was driving in Arizona. It's strange to me, but it sounded kind of wrong there for a second. But we went to leave the Grand Canyon, and we pulled in the parking lot, got out, took a picture, and I made sure to take a picture because that was kind of my thought process. Is we get a picture with the sign first off because I was trying to get some good photos to make a photo book. We did the same thing when we went on our first trip together to Boston, so I'm kind of trying to be super adorable here. I can hear everybody just aw as they're listening to the podcast right now, but I appreciate it. But we took a picture with the sign, and I was like, "This will be great. This will be great for the story for the future." And we get in the car, and I backed out and then pulled over to the side to kind of just give us, because there's someone pulled in right next to us was staring at us. So I backed out and I started to drive. I go, oh crap! I got to put my battery away. She's like, oh, okay, whatever. So she's on her phone, and I pull my bag out, put the battery away. I put the bag back, but I unzipped the front where I had her ring in it, and I pulled the ring out and I just opened it up and said, I forgot to. I said, oh wait, I forgot to grab something for you. She's like, okay. Well, she had no clue what was going on. So I pull the ring out, open it up, and I'm just like, I wanted to give this to you. Because obviously she knew that we're very non-conventional. She knew I bought the ring because I had her pick it out because I wanted to make sure it was a ring that she'd enjoyed. I wanted to make sure because it's something she's going to have the rest of her life or until she divorces me. Don't tell her I said that. But I figured it's something that she would want. I want to make sure she liked it. So I had her pick it out and kind of just waited and we're just going to propose whenever I thought the time was right. And it felt right then, So I pulled it out, asked her, said, I wanted to give this to you. And she's like, are you serious right now? And she started to freak out a little. And I was like, yeah, will you marry me? Like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I thought I made that pretty evident. And, she started crying and she freaked out. She's like, are you serious right now? I said, I'm absolutely serious. I pushed the ring over towards her and put it on the seat. And I said, this is real life. This is actually happening right now. So I pulled the ring out and I was like, do you want to marry? Or will you marry me? Like, you got to say yes, man. You can't just sit there and like freak out and just take the ring. You got to say yes or no. And she's like, absolutely. Yeah, I want to. And I was like, well, good. And then I sat there for a minute and she's like, there was a second of just silence. And she's like, you were super nervous, weren't you? I was like, well, obviously. How do you know that? And she's like, well, you didn't stop talking. I was like, well, damn it. I gave it away. But
that's funny.
But I told her I'd been thinking about it because the week before her mom helped me get the ring insured because it's an expensive ring. I mean, I didn't buy it at Walmart or at the dollar store or whatever. I didn't buy a ring pop. It's a couple dollars. It certainly set me back a few pennies. But
you know what? Everybody likes a ring pop though.
Everybody. If that's the case, I'll go return the ring and take the money back. I don't think it's going to work that way though. But
probably not.
But I'm very happy I found her. One of my good friends introduced me to her, and I'm very happy that it worked out that way because at this point I've known her since about a year now.
Right.
Excuse me. We've been together since July or since May. Sorry, I don't know why I said July. She moved in here and moved in Batavia in July. I've lived in Batavia with her since July, but we've been together since last May. So it's something where I at this point it's crazy, but I can't imagine my life without her. So that's for me, and this sounds so cliche, but like when I met her, I knew I was going to spend the rest of my life with her.
Wow.
And I don't know if that sounds crazy to somebody out there, and someone might try to call BS, but that's how I feel. Like when it happened, I was like,
man, you hear stories of that happening. That happens with people. People get that sense. People get that feeling. I can't say I ever did. Until I really got to know Melinda. But of course, I was completely different when I was younger than you are.
Yeah, we've all heard the stories about you, Lewis. We certainly know that. Like for me, it was I had a relationship before Aubrey. Lasted quite a while, almost a year, and I kind of used that to shield my my own personal problems, my own personal depression, and all that stuff that I was fighting through, that I found someone else who was compatible in the sense of she was going through the same stuff I was, albeit I was not going through as bad as she was, but we kind of connected on that level. And then when things fell apart, it hit me hard, and it took a long time for me to come back. And I said to myself, I don't want to be in a relationship unless, I see a long-term future with this person. So I just kind of shut it down for a while. And then I remember when I was at a bar in Brockport. I believe it was a tap room in Brockport one night. I was just having a day, having a week, having a month, having a year. And my friend said to me, there's this girl I work with who I really think you'd get along with, and I think she'd be great for you, and you'd be great for her. She goes, but the only problem is she's a Yankees fan, so I don't think you're going to be able to be with her. Now, mind you, I corrected that life mistake very quickly. Very quickly, we changed that. So that was not too difficult. But
well, you made her a Boston fan?
Oh yeah.
But she wasn't a true Yankees fan.
Lewis, you got to understand something, man. I am very persuasive in my ways. I'm a very persuasive young man.
Yeah. She was not a true Yankees fan if she switched like that.
It took some time because there was where I was like, hey, and if you can imagine, I'll tell you what did it was that she's like, I've always been a Yankee fan because family and friends and all that stuff, and it just makes sense. And I was like, hear me out. We'll go to Boston. We'll go to a Red Sox game. And then you tell me if you want to be a Yankees fan still. And we went there, and she was completely just overwhelmed with Fenway and Boston and how great it was. And she's like, "Yeah, I think I can do this." And I understand.
Has she ever been to a Yankees game?
I would never go to Yankee Stadium.
I was saying, has she ever been to Yankee Stadium?
I don't think so.
Yeah, see, okay, so she went to her first stadium. She liked it. You were her boyfriend.
But you have to understand, it's the power of persuasion, Lewis. You have to understand what you're up against. And I knew that I could do this, and it worked. And it's not the first time it's happened, because I've got a lot of friends around me who are Red Sox fans because of me, because of my insane love for the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
You know that. People around me, like family, friends, all that stuff, they're like, the way you're so passionate about the team, it's kind of engulfed me. I know it'll never happen to you, and that's what makes this dynamic great. But going back to Vegas, man, it was very, very much an experience. I mean, I loved every second of being in Las Vegas. I mean, except for the first night when I got there, and you figured we left New York at 12 o'clock, 12:25, I believe, the day before.
Okay.
That morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. Eastern time. So I was already halfway through my day when I got on the plane. We got to New York City, had a 4-hour layover, 4.5-hour layover in New York City, which was horrendous. And,
yeah, that's the long layover.
Yeah, and give me a second. I gotta take a sip of my drink here. Had a 4-hour layover in JFK, which we were stuck in the JetBlue terminal, which was not fun because it's big, but it's a lot of the same stuff.
Right.
So we were in the terminal, we fly to Vegas, we get to Vegas, and then the BS with first off, there's a gigantic line at the Vegas counter, or the Hertz counter in Vegas. Now, I expected that, but when we got to the counter, that's when the BS started of, oh, well, you can't change the reservation because you prepaid for it. You prepaid for it on your card. And again, it's our first time renting a car out of the state. So someone's probably listening to this going, yep, you should have known. Well, now we know. But that got all taken care of. And then we went to In-N-Out Burger for dinner because, again, it was probably 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night at that point in time, about midnight when we got to In-N-Out Burger. And we had not eaten much. So we got food there, which was incredible. In-N-Out Burger is like McDonald's. Their food's like McDonald's, but it's so much better. And it's just everything's great about it. And then we ended up getting to the Excalibur where we stayed, and we had no idea where to check in, no idea where to go. We were clueless. We were just lost. Now, mind you, this is because, like with Boston, we had Caitlin and Tony with us, so we'd been there before. We knew where we were going. We knew what we were doing. We got to Vegas, we had no idea. Like Aubrey had been there before when she was a kid, younger.
Okay.
So it was kind of like taking the training wheels off and figuring it out ourselves. So by the time we got into the room that night, it was 2 a.m. Vegas time. So I had been up at that point for 24 straight hours.
You're tired.
And I was like, this place is just too much right now. I'm just not a fan of it. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, let's try it again. Let's hit the reset button. And it worked perfectly. And I love the place. But
Good.
I can't wait to go back to see some hockey. Lots of Vegas people are very excited about the hockey team. And I found that out because I bought a Golden Knights t-shirt and I wore it around Vegas because,
Right.
being the tourist that I am. And people were like, yeah, I can't wait. Hockey's going to be great here, whatever. It's going to be wonderful. And then I asked about the Raiders because that was the weekend before the Raiders came to Vegas. And people
Right.
are not happy about that one because I don't know if you saw the news about it, but essentially the Raiders are getting $750 million from a hotel tax, an increase in hotel taxes that they could have taken and put in towards education, infrastructure, stuff like that. I mean, because Vegas has the worst, like the whole state of Nevada has the worst schools in the country. They're like 35 in Vegas, in the areas around Vegas. It's like 35-to-1 student to teacher ratio. It's real bad. So they lost all that money to the stadium, which the city's not even going to own. It's going to be owned. The Raiders are going to get it built for them, and they're going to own the stadium. They're going to make money off the stadium themselves. Where if you look at the Golden Knights, MGM and AEG partnered to build that arena. The Golden Knights are a partner, so they are a tenant in the arena. Which
Right.
the arena looks gorgeous. It's going to be great for hockey. Hockey in Vegas is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to go back and see a game there. But I'm interested to see how football is going to work out there. But you know what? They're going to get the Super Bowl. They're going to get the Final Four. They'll probably get WrestleMania at some point in time because I think it's a 65 or 70,000 seat arena. They'll have in April. It's going to be gorgeous there. They'll certainly have a WrestleMania there. But the one thing that blew my mind, and it's something you got to look into, is that like the plot of land where they're going to build the Raiders Stadium. The Raiders Stadium was the seventh or eighth thing that they were supposed to build there. Apparently, stuff in Vegas just is supposed to happen and never happens. Like by the Excalibur, there are these two concrete pillars that go really high up in the air. It's across from, I believe it's between Luxor and Mandalay Bay, right across the street from that. And I looked it up, and they were going to build a hotel called London Las Vegas, and it was going to be a gigantic Ferris wheel. They started building it and just stopped.
Really?
There's another hotel that's on the north side of the Strip. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was 85 or 90% of the way built. And then this is back when the housing crisis hit in 2008, and they lost all their money. They lost all their funding for the building, stopped building it. And it's going to take like $1 billion to finish building it, but this building is gigantic, and it's just sitting empty. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
And this stuff apparently is just old hat in Las Vegas. So
Really?
It was incredible. I do suggest going. Take a small trip, take a 3-4 day trip, and really go enjoy yourself and kind of just take the city in. The food there is great. I mean, there was a guy there from Brooklyn who said the food sucked. He was a Lyft driver, which Lyft was fantastic too. I can't wait till it comes out here. He was great. The Lyft drivers were great. It was relatively cheap to get a Lyft around town. I mean, a taxi ride from the airport to the hotel was $25. A Lyft from the hotel to Fremont Street was $7 or $8. So
yeah, that's not bad. I've taken Uber before. That's always pretty nice.
It's ideal. Well, Uber treats their drivers like crap, and they're just a terrible company. That's just my opinion, though. I like Lyft better, but to each his own. Everybody has their own stuff they like to do. But the thing I want to ask you now, because I've talked for over 20 minutes now, and it feels like my throat is going to fall out. So I want to ask you, one of the big things that's happened since the last time we talked, Lewis, the Dallas Cowboys were set to trade Tony Romo. They were set to cut Tony Romo. Then they were going to trade Tony Romo. Then they gave Romo the opportunity to talk to other franchises. And then Tony Romo decided to retire and take a job with CBS Sports. I'm going to kind of leave this open-ended for you. What are your thoughts? What are you feeling? How did that hit you when Tony Romo called it quits?
It's too bad. I would have liked to see him maybe stick around for another season with the Cowboys. Sure, he'd be an expensive backup, but someone like Tony Romo could have mentored Prescott really good. I would have liked to see that, but I don't think the interest in Tony was there like they thought it was going to be, because let's be honest, is he a good quarterback? Absolutely. I feel bad for him in a sense, because even though he's broken all the Cowboy records when it comes to a quarterback, he's never won the big one. And if you don't win the big one, especially in a place like Dallas. You know, you're basically relegated to nothing. And while he will never be nothing, you know, he's not going to be a Hall of Famer because he never won the big one. And when you look at someone who's broken all of Troy Aikman's records, to not have that ring, you know, it makes me wonder what he'll be remembered more for. The choking or being probably Dallas's best quarterback to never win the big one. But he's not going to be hurting. You know, even though he's walked away, he still gets, I think, something like $10.7 million this year and then $8 million next year. So he's going to be financially okay. And going into becoming CBS's number one guy, that's a big leap for someone who's never been on TV on a regular basis. But if you ever see him in front of the television, he's always pretty good. So I think it's a good move for him. I hope it works out for him. You know, I think our hands in the Dallas Cowboys, I think we're going to be okay in Dak Prescott's hands.
I think with Romo, I'm sorry to cut you off there. I think with Romo, he's got the charisma for TV. He can certainly pull it off.
Right.
But I'm gonna hold off on putting the nail in the coffin on his career until probably the first week of the season. I mean, if say for instance, Dak Prescott was to go down mid-season, I think the only team he would ever join mid-season would be the Cowboys. Like if Prescott got hurt and the Cowboys were, I don't know, 7-3 and making a run for it, and they were really, really good still, and Ezekiel Elliott was, you know, not suffering a sophomore slump. You know, Dak Prescott crushing it, everything's going great for him, and then he gets hurt. Maybe Tony Romo comes out of retirement.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense if that happens because right now they've released some cash towards the cap, and you could bring Tony Romo back.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work with all the financials. It'd probably be very difficult because he's already got a cap hit, a big cap hit against the cap. But I'm not looking into financials right. I'm just saying on the surface, if Trevor Siemian goes down in camp and destroys his something and can't play, maybe Romo comes out of retirement.
Right.
My thought process behind it is that Denver and Houston were the only reportedly interested teams. And while I think Houston's a great landing spot for Romo, I don't think that's where he wants to be. Yeah. I always thought that he wanted to do what Peyton did. Go to Denver. Denver's not horrible. Their defense needs a little help, but their offense needs a quarterback because Trevor Siemian is a glorified game manager. We saw that last year. And Paxton Lynch is not ready. So I figured my thought process behind it was Denver's not interested in acquiring Romo at the cost of his contract currently, and he didn't want to restructure. So the best bet is to retire and go and be healthy and enjoy yourself and go be on TV and make another career for yourself. I hate to say it this way, but the O.J. Simpson way, where O.J. knew he was a character, knew he had a following, and went and made more money off of it. I mean, after he retired from football, he was on TV and he did great on commentary.
He did,
and maybe that's what Romo's going to do here. I don't know. Maybe this is a 2 or 3 year thing, and he decides, it's not my thing. I'm done with it. But maybe it lasts, and maybe Romo is the next O.J. Simpson on commentary, and not just the next O.J. Simpson, because that would be horrible. But
that would be highly terrible. By the way,
I did make the joke though. I'm certainly not the first one to say it, but the funny joke behind Romo retiring and going to CBS is now he can finally get to a Super Bowl.
He can finally what?
Now he can finally get to a Super Bowl.
Right, that's true. That's very true. So, good for him.
I think Dallas is, but as for the Cowboys, they're still in very good hands. Even if Dak Prescott regresses, which he's likely going to, if Ezekiel Elliott regresses, which he's likely going to, sophomore slumps are real, but these players might be super special, and it may not happen to them, so we'll see what happens. But I think Dallas is still in pretty good hands.
Yeah, I do too. I don't really see it being, we need to, obviously, we talked about it, before, they definitely need to improve their defense. So hopefully that'll happen. But I don't think you'll see much of a fall off between the two.
So right now I want to jump over to baseball really fast. There is a lot to talk about for sure. But I really kind of want to just look at some standings, some stats, and just kind of throw some things out there so we can, because we need to get the ball rolling for us back towards baseball, because obviously towards the end of the football season, the podcast kind of petered out a little. Life was busy, things were busy, but we're back. It's summertime. Hockey's almost over, unfortunately. The Buffalo Sabres play their final game on, as of recording time today. It's April 9th, Sunday. The Sabres play their final game of the season. A lot of changes coming to the Sabres, even if Dan Bilesma stays coach. There's still a lot of stuff that has to happen. Me and Brayton will get caught up sometime soon. We'll talk about that for you guys. We'll talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs sometime soon as well, but right now I want to focus on baseball. Baseball is back, and only a handful, 4, 5, 6 games into the season, we've already got some very, very, very big storylines. You've got Baltimore 4-0 to start the season. Yep. You've got Tampa Bay 4-2 to start the season. Everyone thought Tampa Bay was gonna be at the bottom of the American League East, and right now in the bottom of the American League, it's New York and Toronto, both 1-4. A lot of time to turn it around. Don't need to worry. But the story for me of the American League East is the Boston Red Sox, and I don't say that because I'm a fan. I say that because right now they are the walking wounded. The Boston Red Sox have a nasty flu bug that is passing around the team. Now, I mention this because Hanley Ramirez has it now. Joe Kelly has it. He went to the DL because of the flu. You've got the announcer, Dave O'Brien, left yesterday's game in the 6th inning because he got sick. Andrew Benintendi is throwing up between innings in the dugout and is still playing through it. Like I said, Hanley Ramirez has it. Jackie Bradley Jr. hyperextended his knee yesterday, so he's not playing. Mookie Betts had the flu. I think he's finally back. So it's absurd. It's crazy how unlucky the Red Sox have been to start the season. But again, they played 4 games. They're playing their 5th game here shortly today. They've got 158 more games to make it up, so I don't think it'll be too big of a deal. But right now, when storylines are prevalent, this is the biggest storyline. In the AL Central, Minnesota starting off the season 4-1, starting off with a 3-game sweep of the Kansas City Royals, they looked very, very impressive. The one thing I want to point out, though, because I know Louis, me and you paid a lot of attention to the Twins when the GERE guy Jose Barrios was coming up, which he had a phenomenal opening day start for the Rochester Red Wings. If you want to check that out,
yes, he did.
But Byron,
he also pitched well. He also pitched well at the World Baseball Classic.
He did. He pitched very well. I think he's at the point now where he's becoming like a 4A player. Can he make the jump from AAA to Major League Baseball? It's too good for AAA, not enough good for Major League Baseball. Can he make the adjustments to be good in the majors?
Right.
But that brings me to Byron Buxton, who is a Major League center fielder through and through, no doubt about it. But his batting is just not coming around. I mean, the first couple of games he's got a ton of strikeouts. His average isn't great. Let me see if I can find out where he's at right now. But excuse me, it's certainly very, very troublesome to see Byron Buxton batting. Well, right now he's batting .091 in 22 at bats. He's batting .091, so he is 2 for 22 with 13 strikeouts and 22 at bats in 5 games.
That's not good.
And this is coming off of last year, where in 298 at bats in 92 games, he had 67 hits and 118 strikeouts. So right now he's pretty much a boomer bust kind of guy. Either he gets a base hit or he strikes out. So that's not good for Minnesota. Something they got to keep an eye on, and something we'll keep an eye on for sure. In the AL West, kind of surprising to see Los Angeles get a hot start. Seattle's 1-5. Texas is 1-4. That's very surprising. In the National League East, it is pretty much what we thought it would be. Miami's on top, 3-2. Washington's 3-2. The Mets 2-3. Philly 2-3. Atlanta 1-4. NL Central's the same way, kind of what we thought it would be. Chicago's on top. The NL West, though, this is very surprising to me. The NL West is so far Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. We thought it was going to go left, it went right. Arizona, under new head coach Torey Lovullo, old Red Sox bench coach, used to coach for the Bisons as well, Buffalo Bisons, 5-1 out of the gate, and Colorado as well, also 5-1 out of the gate. Los Angeles and San Diego 3-3, and then San Francisco 1-5 out of the gate. Not very good at all. And the one thing about San Francisco that has shown to be problematic so far is they've been blowing leads in games again, and that was the problem last year. They went out and got Mark Melancon, and then this year they come back around, and even Mark Melancon's blowing leads. So things aren't looking too good for the San Francisco Giants right now. That's for
true.
Sure.
That's true, but like you said, I mean, we're six games into the season. I mean,
absolutely. But it's very troublesome to see it happen early. If it continues to happen, it's going to be their season. But it's 6 games into the year.
Right.
In the NL West, I wanted to point one thing out too. Yasiel Puig is starting off red hot. He's a .368 average and 19 at bats, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, a stolen base. Maybe it's early again, but maybe Yasiel Puig has it all figured out again, because baseball, I think, is better with Yasiel Puig just being good at baseball. I'm fairly confident of that one.
Yeah, you need, especially the Dodgers. They need someone like him to just start on fire. He's a character. He's incredible. He's fun to watch. You need someone like that being good. But speaking of your team, you're talking about Mookie Betts. Did you know that he's a phenomenal bowler?
He is an incredible bowler. He actually could be, I believe he has considered it, or could just has talked about it, but professional bowling is not out of the realm of possibility for Mookie Betts. He is incredible.
Oh, he has 8 300 games.
Excuse me.
Which, for someone who doesn't dedicate to bowling a lot, I mean, that's incredible.
He certainly, if you go on his Instagram account or anything like that, he is incredible at multiple sports, but bowling is one of them. Yeah, bowling, it's fantastic. It's amazing, because to watch someone be really good at bowling, it blows my mind.
I only have 1 300 game. Mookie's got 8.
I think the most I've ever bowled is like a 142.
Well, I got a friend who's got 9 this year so far.
In 1 year?
Yeah.
Wow. Is that the guy on Facebook that John posted a video about?
No.
Okay, because I saw that one. It's incredible. To look over at golf really quick, because again, we don't want to make this podcast too long today, because we don't really have a purpose. We just wanted to talk to you guys. We want to let you guys know we're still alive, we're still kicking, we're still doing good. Have you caught any of the Masters this weekend?
What'd you say?
Did you catch any of the Masters this weekend?
Oh, yeah, I've been watching it.
Okay. I think the most impressive thing was Jordan Spieth on moving day. Completely just crushed it. And it's crazy because on Friday, when I was at work watching, I saw Spieth was at even par. And I said, you know what? He set himself up real good to win this tournament. And right now you've got, let's see, I believe 7 people within three strokes of the lead. You've got Justin Rose and Sergio Garcia at 6 under, Ricky Fowler 5 under, Hoffman, Moore, and Spieth are at 4 under, and then Adam Scott is 3 under. So you've got 9 guys under par right now, or 10 guys that are under 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 8, 9, 10 guys that are under par right now. So you can make up 5 shots in a day, plus obviously people can collapse, but I really hope, I'm really hoping for golf that Jordan Spieth can pull off another victory. And I don't see why not, honestly, because he is absolutely incredible to watch play golf.
Yeah, Jordan Spieth is good. It'd be nice to see another American win it, but this is the best that Garcia's ever been going into a final round of the Masters right now. So I'd be interested to see if he's finally able to break through and win himself a major. He's always been in contention the first, second, sometimes the third days, but he always gets in his own head and collapses in the final round. And so it'll be interesting to see if he's actually able to finally break through and win himself a green jacket.
I think my is going to be Ricky Fowler, my kind of wild card for today. But I'm going to go Jordan Spieth or Ricky Fowler.
I would like to see Spieth get it.
It'd be nice to see him win it, but at this point, again, I think Spieth or Fowler. I mean, whoever wins it, as long as it's good, I'm not mad. As long as the game is good, as long as the golfing is good, I'm not hard to please when it comes to golf. People talk a lot of junk about how golf is boring and how they don't really care and whatever. But you know what? Nothing better than cracking a beer and just sitting down and watching some golf and relaxing.
Yeah, I like golf. I enjoy watching golf.
Now, one last thing before we wrap this guy up, I want to get your thoughts real quick on WrestleMania, and more or less, I want to get your thoughts on Undertaker's final match.
Here's what bothers me about wrestling. When a person is going to retire, they have their final match, and they always lose. And I get it, you're kind of passing the baton, so to speak, to the next individual. That's fine. But someone like the Taker, who's been around for, almost 3 decades, who had an incredible, amazing WWE career, to me, he deserves something better than that. Go out on a win. The match wasn't bad. It was kind of the same thing I felt with the Goldberg Brock Lesnar match. A lot of power moves, a lot of spears, a lot of Superman punches, no real finesse, which is fine.
You got to make Roman look strong.
Right. And that's what they did. But at the same token, while you made Roman look strong, you made Taker look weak. And to me, while I get it, that was his last match, someone like Taker deserves better than that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I mean, they're going to build Roman Reigns into the next John Cena. SummerSlam or sooner, he's going to be the Universal Champion. There's no doubt about that, which kind of throws that whole Brock Lesnar storyline down the drain of how he's a monster. But then you make Roman the monster, I guess, whatever, But I didn't watch Taker's last match because I fell asleep because WrestleMania was 7.5 hours long, and at that point
was long.
It was 12:30ish in the morning, and I was like, good. I'm good. I'm just gonna go to sleep. I woke up and saw that Taker lost and went, saw that one coming. But I think it sucks he went out on a loss because wrestling is stupid and they're stuck in their ways with that stuff. But it was. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's done because at this point we don't have to sit back and wonder, are we going to get a good Taker match? Are we going to get a bad one? Like when he lost to Brock and it was sloppy because he was concussed because Brock manhandled him.
It was an ugly match.
To kind of look back at some of the recent Taker matches, are we going to get Taker Punk or are we going to get Taker Brock? That's kind of what I always think every year, and I'm glad that it was. From what I hear, it was okay. I mean, like you said, a lot of power moves, garbage stuff like that, but it wasn't bad.
Right.
I just hope that next year he's WWE Hall of Fame. Get it out of the way because it's one of those things where he's the greatest WrestleMania wrestler ever. Like his gimmick was WrestleMania.
Right.
And he really held the mystique. I mean, there are guys that if Undertaker showed up on Raw, you'd be like, why are you here? Or if he showed up at a random pay-per-view like Money in the Bank, you're like, why are you here? This is not where you belong. Right. At WrestleMania, you're like, this is Undertaker's stage, and that's because they've spent 25 years building him up to be that guy. So we'll see what happens in the future. Wrestling is stupid usually, but I really enjoyed that when the dirt sheets talk about stuff and the dirt sheets mention that, the Hardys are coming back and Kurt Angle is going to be the GM of Raw, stuff like that. I really love that happened. That's kind of an ode to the fans, like, thanks for sticking around. We're going to kind of give you a treat here. And
funny story about that. I went to Sabino's place to watch WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
And I don't read the wrestling writer stuff. I don't do any of that stuff. But I did know the Hardys lost the ROH belts the night before. And so me and Sabino were talking about, who we thought was going to win that match. And I looked at him and I said, here's what's going to happen. Hardy Boys are going to come back. And I can see them capturing the titles. They made ladder matches.
Yeah, well, I thought once it was made a triple threat ladder match, I was like, if the Hardys don't come back, this is the biggest tease ever, and people are going to be so pissed off.
So, yeah, but you know what? I didn't even know it was a rumor. I was joking.
That's incredible.
And so then, of course, the New Day comes out. They do their little gimmick, and then the Hardys music hit, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. John was not in the room. He went to put one of his daughters to sleep, and I just sat there stunned like, yo, I so called this. And he comes out, and he's like, what are the Hardys doing there? I was like, I told you, man. I told you. So we rewound it, and we watched the entrance, and, that was really cool to see. It's
nice to have the nostalgia back. I mean, at some point in time, we'll get Broken Matt Hardy once that lawsuit's done with TNA.
That would be awesome.
But, I mean, he's been teasing it, and they try to chance it at him, and he acts it out, but he tries to keep it low-key because he's still has litigation going on. But I said to my fiance, Hardy Boys are going to come back. She has no idea who it is. I was like, just watch. They're nuts. And when the New Day came out, and they were like, I don't know, someone's going to be a fourth tag team. We got an extra entrant. And I was like, it's going to be the Hardys.
Right.
And then Kofi took his hat off, and I was like, don't do this to us. Do not do this to us. And then the camera started to pan out, and I said, it's going to be the Hardys.
Right.
The music hit. I lost. I just freaked out. Like, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. Like, that's what wrestling... People don't understand wrestling is stupid, but it's like any other sport. It still gives you that same reaction. And, like, when you see someone you grew up do something or come back, like... I lost it, man. I was so excited to see the ladder spots and the
absolutely
double swanton through the ladders, stuff like that. It was great.
Oh yeah, Jeff hit that one off that 30-foot. So I was like, see that? That's what they expect from the Hardy Boys. I got to be honest with you. Out of the three that was originally in it, I like Big Kaz, and I like that whole gimmick. They need to start coming up with some new stuff to say, because by now everyone has it memorized.
Yeah, but it keeps happening because it gets over. That's why they keep doing it.
It so gets over. It's hilarious. Let's be honest with you. It's hilarious. When they showed up on Monday Night Raw, and he pretended to have a mic, and he was just talking to his hand like he was talking into the mic, and you can hear the crowd in the background. Like, it gets over. It's pretty awesome. But I would have liked to see Sheamus and Cesaro at one point hold the belts, because I like what they've turned into.
They won them a while back, but it's been kind of a hot potato recently. And
I know. I'd like to see them get it again. That's what I mean. I
want to see Enzo. I want to see Enzo and Cass kind of run with them and see what happens with that. But I'm not sure if that'll ever happen.
Right. Yeah, it should. I mean, Cass he's freaking 7 feet tall.
You can't teach that.
You can't teach that. But
his shoot height, I think, is he's actually like 6'10" or 6'11". But
he's still a tall dude.
You can't. That doesn't really work in the spiel. You can't say he's 6'10.5". No, it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. You got to say 7 feet. So
who's counting?
Right. But I mean, overall, what did you think of WrestleMania?
I enjoyed it. I really did. I mean, I thought the first half of it was great. It was going in the right direction. Everything was just flowing so well. And then out of nowhere, it just died. And I was like, "Oh my God, is this ever going to end?" And then Brock and Goldberg happened, and I was like, "Dude, come on!" Like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, I was excited that Brock won, But I'm just like, oh my God, is this ever going to end? Like, dude, holy hell and a half.
Right. Say what you want to about, like, Brock finally beating Goldberg, but Brock, you still got a losing record to Goldberg. So.
Exactly.
You know. I enjoyed it for the most part. I always like when Shane McMahon wrestles because he's another one who's just absolutely crazy. And while he stole a lot of his stuff from RVD, he's still absolutely crazy. You know, that I don't know if you know this, but that move that he does where he sets the garbage can up and jumps across like, RVD was supposed to debut that, and Shane was like, I want to do that. And so he let Shane do it. But, yeah. But, I mean, that was fine. I think the women's match was pretty good. I'm surprised they let Bayley keep it because, you know, now Charlotte has her first pay-per-view loss, and it's at the biggest stage in wrestling. I thought the Viper against what's his nuts?
Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt. I thought that was a pretty cool match. I liked how they kept showing the images on the mat in the middle of the ring. I was surprised they took the belt off of Bray.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was going to be a little bit longer of a run where they were going to stretch it out, but clearly they wanted to give Orton another WrestleMania moment. I don't understand why. Because you want to build Bray Wyatt to be a big top heel, but you know, who knows? Because we've got a lot shifting with it may make more sense once we get the Superstar shakeup coming up, where you know it's rumored that AJ Styles and the Club are going to get back together. New Day, I think, is rumored to go to SmackDown. They're going to kind of try to trim the fat off of each show, and I mean, not saying that New Day's bad or AJ Styles is bad. I'm saying that they're going to try to transfer them to better spots so they can be more successful and have a better show essentially.
I like the New Day.
I love them, but I think that they've run out of room on the on Raw. They need a new show, and they need to just go from there and see what happens from there. So, I mean, I like them a lot, but I'm certainly a big fan for sure.
So overall, WrestleMania wasn't bad.
No, it was one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see him give Nia Jax a push, to be honest with you. I like Nia Jax. I
think it's going to come at some point in time, but I wonder if she's going to be one of those people that also ends up moving, or maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but from there, I mean, it's wrestling is going to probably be boring again until, like I explained to my fiance, and you know this, Lewis. But for those out there who don't know, essentially, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl, and SummerSlam is the second Super Bowl, like the lesser Super Bowl. So the story goes from the day after WrestleMania until SummerSlam, and then the day after SummerSlam till WrestleMania. That's how it kind of goes. So you're starting off fresh and new, all that fun stuff, and then we'll go from there. But at this point,
and the Royal Rumble's pretty big too.
Yeah, because that's a big setup for WrestleMania. But you know, I kind of just nailed it down to that and was like, you know, you can be a fan if you want. If not, I mean, she's a big Enzo and big Cass fan. I got her one of the T-shirts. She loves it.
Right. That's funny.
You know, so I'm a big Seth Rollins guy, but you know that's
Seth. I like Seth.
I like his T-shirts. His T-shirts are super dope.
Yeah, I'm glad he beat Triple H.
Yeah, finally. It was nice to finally get that because that was supposed to happen last year. But you know, excuse me, real quick because we can't get lost on this because I want to wrap this up here in a second. But Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania. 2 thumbs up.
Listen,
I was very much a fan.
Listen, Stephanie McMahon is 2 thumbs up all the time, bro.
Yeah, but Stephanie McMahon in that that suit that she had on, I was quite a fan. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna leave it there. That's
you know what? I gotta be honest with you. I actually didn't like it on her.
That's surprising.
It is surprising. It really is surprising. But I wasn't a fan of that particular look on Stephanie McMahon. It's because, you know, when you rock that type of look, you expect a certain type of look, and she's not that type of person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's the same with Triple H though. Like they tried to make it seem like he's like this American badass, I guess, for lack of a better explanation. And
right.
I'm looking forward very much to the day that Triple H never wrestles again. I grew up being Triple H was my favorite wrestler when I was a kid, but I'm just like
Taker's always been mine.
Yeah, it's just like, can we just stop doing this, please? Because
right.
I don't want to look back and think about the time that you lost to Seth Rollins, and you were dressed up like a gimp or whatever.
That's true, but you had to put Seth over in that match. You know?
Absolutely, because at that point you're giving the rub to the younger guys. It's like with the same reason that Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns and not John Cena. It was because if John Cena wins, it does nothing. Roman Reigns wins, and you're saying, okay, it's the new coming of this group of people. Same with Triple H and Seth Rollins. Is Triple H has been holding him down ever since he left Evolution, whatever the hell they call it, the corporate evolution, whatever you want to call it. And
he's supposed to be debuting a new faction too.
I'm cool with that. I think it's going to be Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe and someone else. I'd be a fan for that. Big fan.
Yeah, it's supposed to be some guy they discovered in Europe.
Oh, cool. We'll check it out. We'll see what happens. But
let me real quick before we wrap this up, bro.
Okay.
Let me tell you about my 2017 so far.
Oh, sure. Go for it.
Because you've had a very good 2017.
Well, actually, the past couple of days, when we're done with this podcast, I have to go pine saw my basement because our basement flooded. About 2.5 inches of water, and it smells like a barn down there. It's pretty gross, so I have to go.
Oh, no, trust me. I know how that is. My basement's like the flood, too.
Yeah, so I was very shocked by that. But that just gives me something to do today. But please, I'm interested.
So, my 2017, well, it hasn't been bad, per se. It's been interesting. January was fine.
Kept you on your toes?
Oh, dude. January was fine. At the start of February, I had a flare-up of my Milroy's disease, right?
Saw that.
And I was out of work for 3 weeks.
Wow.
So, they also thought I had blood clots in my legs and blood clots in my lungs.
Oh.
Fortunately, I didn't have blood clots in either of those places. So that's good.
That's very good.
I was out of work for 3 weeks, and I was supervisor, so it's tough to be away from my group for that long. So I went back to work on a Monday. I made it through Monday. I made it through Tuesday. On Wednesday, I'm getting to work, and I get rear-ended. Sitting at a red light. Lady looked very surprised that I was sitting at a red light when I looked at my rear view. Partially torn rotator cuff and ligament damage throughout the arm, my right arm.
You? Oh, my God.
Yeah, me. So my hand was on the steering wheel. I got hit. It forced my body forward, but my arm stayed basically in one place. So that's awesome.
Jeez.
So I was out of work the rest of that week. I go back to work. I was there on Monday. I was there on Tuesday. My Milroy's disease flared up on me again. So I'm out of work the rest of that week. I go back to work. I'm there on Monday. I'm there on Tuesday. I wake up at 2 o'clock Tuesday morning, and when I tell you I thought I was dying, bro, I thought I was dying. My stomach was just, I haven't felt pain like that in a long time, vomiting and other stuff. I go to the hospital. I got food poisoning. So I haven't had food poisoning for the past 2 weeks. All right. That's been my 2017, bro.
Have you gone back to work yet?
I'm going back on Monday. I went back last Monday and couldn't even make it through the whole day. I was just vomiting still.
Jeez, what did you eat?
That's a toss-up. It was either a Hot Pocket, which I bought from the vending machine at work because I had forgotten to bring lunch, and the vending machine, it's a cooled vending machine.
Yeah.
But Hot Pockets are frozen, and it was already, thawing out, which is never a good thing. Or it was a cookie that I had from the Bellas. And when I bit into the cookie, it was a walnut cookie, I thought to myself, wow, this tastes kind of weird. But I just thought it was, I thought I just bitten into a spot with a lot of walnut. But I found out that there was a stomach bug at my job, so I'm going to go with the Hot Pocket.
Yeah, I would say that probably is safe, but as long as your job is cool with it, I mean, that's all that really matters.
They're not cool with it, but I got doctor's notes covering me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got doctor's notes, but the problem is with the short-term disability, when I was out for 3 weeks, like I haven't been paid all of 2017. We go through MetLife for our short-term disability, and the contract they signed with MetLife states in order to be approved for short-term disability for a condition, a pre-existing condition, which I've had Milroy's disease for a while now, you have to be at the job for more than a year. This call center hasn't existed for more than a year.
Yeah.
So like I was banned anyway, which sucks. But it's just been health-wise a crazy 2017. I'm hoping. Hopefully
things turn for you, man.
It gets better.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, that would explain. That's a good reason for us to not podcast. I didn't know too much about that because life, like I said, life over on my end has been crazy because buying a house and getting engaged and going to Vegas and just I'm going back to school here shortly and working. It's just I've one thing after another. If I'm not busy, I'm busy. So that's really I go to sleep to relax at this point. So it's nice to get back together and kind of chat a little.
Yeah, man, I agree. But I've been ridiculously sick 2017.
Yeah, hopefully it turns and you get a little better, man. For sure.
I hope so. I got some tests coming up, and hopefully that'll be the end of it.
That'll be good, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I've knock on wood, haven't had food poisoning in a while. The last time I had it, it was misery.
Oh, dude, not fun. I do not recommend. Listen, people in listener land, try to avoid that whole food poisoning thing. That's not fun.
I'm sure it's not something they'll wish to have, but
no. I don't recommend it on anybody.
I was going to say, if you can go out and enjoy the day, I'm going to do the same. I got to go clean this basement out and maybe clean my car, watch the Masters, watch Jordan Spieth win again. Maybe Ricky Fowler will do something, but have
fun. Well, when we were talking, I went and got my car washed. So
that's a good idea. That's very good. I just got to go shine up my car because I went and got my oil changed yesterday, and they cleaned my car. They cleaned it out. They cleaned the car for me, so I don't need to get it cleaned again. But
I got to do my interior.
Yeah, that's what I got to do. You guys can check us out. BLTDsports.com, at BLTDsports on Twitter, Facebook.com/BLTDsports. I'm at WolfBLTD on Twitter, Lewis at MRLG Perez. You can also, one thing I learned recently, because I'm so good at paying attention to all the important, cool stuff we can do. You can go, on your iPhone, you can go to iTunes and you can subscribe to our podcast, but you can also, if you go to Google, if you have an Android and you go to Play Music, the Play Music app on your phone, you can go to podcasts. You pop out. You open up the application first off. I'll just walk you through this because feels like it's my job, so I can tell you. You hit the three lines on the left. The thing pops out from the left. It says Home, Recent, Top, New, Music Library, and Podcast. You click on Podcasts. You go to Search in the top right. It says Search Google Play Music. You type in Better Live Than Dead, and then you hit Enter. And then you'll see some radio stations, some videos, and then podcasts. We are the first podcast on there if you search Better Live Than Dead. So if you want to stay tuned to the latest Better Live Than Dead podcast, the next time we do one, we'll obviously let you know. But if you don't see the tweet or see the Facebook post, it'll automatically alert you on your cell phone when a new podcast has been posted. So later today, when this posts, it will send me a message, and I will check it out, and then I'll listen to the podcast. So I hope you do the same. Thank you, Lewis, again for joining me. I appreciate it on short notice, but
absolutely, man.
And when you're healthy, we'll meet up in Rochester, grab a bite to eat or something, and we'll do a podcast then.
Yeah, man. I'd like to meet your fiance.
Absolutely, the pizza queen. That's what my buddy Brayton has termed her, because I'm the pizza man. She's the pizza queen.
I love pizza.
Me too. I've actually got a little. I bought a little plush pizza to hang out for my microphone at the podcast too. I'll send you a picture. But everybody, thank you for being patient. Thank you for tuning in. Check out the website. We appreciate you so much. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We will talk to you sometime very, very soon.
That's right.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the GERE Network. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this podcast. If you're looking to support this podcast and this network, visit shopgere.com. That's shopgere.com. It will take you right to amazon.com, to your Amazon account, and you can do all of your Amazon shopping. The difference is using our link versus going to Amazon's link is that you are telling Amazon that GERE Network referred you, and they end up giving us a small percentage of your purchase, which helps out this program and this network entirely. And of course, if Amazon's not your thing, it's understandable. On GereNetwork.com, GERE Network.com, if you click on the top bar, that says donate to GERE. There's several different PayPal buttons. You can donate to us as well if Amazon isn't your thing. Your support is vital to helping the GERE Network maintain this programming, this quality programming, and continuing our growth through the year. As always, thank you very much for your support and your listens and your downloads and your likes and your shares from all of us here at the GERE Radio Network.